Hello and welcome, my name's Glasgow101 and this is Uniquely New Zealand, the show where I discuss anything and everything New Zealand. On December 3rd, 2018, filmmaker Geoff Murphy passed away at the age of 80. Many of you may not know who this is, however, he was one of the most influential directors in Kiwi history. He was the man that proved New Zealand films could be a success, and he did this with a film he released in 1981. That movie? Goodbye, Pork Pie. While this was not the first Kiwi film, and it didn't receive much of a following outside of New Zealand, Goodbye Pork Pie was the first movie to prove that Kiwis would go and see movies about, well, Kiwis. At the time, there was a lot of doubt over whether Kiwi moviegoers would go and see movies about and set in New Zealand. Goodbye Pork Pie, however, came along and proved we definitely would. And it did this by being the most Kiwi fucking thing ever. This movie is almost offensively New Zealand, and in honor of its director, we're gonna take a look at it today. This is Goodbye Pork Pie. We're taken back to 1978, where in Auckland we see a typical Kiwi bloke named Jerry Austin finding a woman's wallet and using the cash and license to rent a yellow Mini. 'Cause you know, fuck it, it's Tuesday. Meanwhile, John over here is having a much worse day as his girlfriend of 6 years runs out on him and heads for Invercargill. John promises to follow her there, but she says he simply won't. With no money and no car, his only choice is to hitch a ride. And at this point, John runs into Jerry getting pulled over by a cop. The two quickly bond over the fact they both like committing felonies.
You didn't pay for the juice.
You didn't pay for the juice.
I didn't pay for the juice.
I didn't pay for the juice.
We didn't pay for the juice.
Alexa, play my music.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground.
Now they're being actively pursued by the police, Jerry stops to pick up yet another hitchhiker. 'Cause I think we've established that Jerry gives the absolute minimum amount of fucks. But the amount of fucks he gives might change soon as that hitchhiker identifies herself as Shirl, aka Bachelorette number 3. They gonna fuck. They're spotted by a cop and lose him after a quick chase. What I love about this is there's absolutely no reason the cop should have crashed here, he just sucks. Meanwhile, back in the Mini, tensions are running high after Shirley realizes that the gas in the car are stolen. Don't worry, they calm down after they start fucking. Woman, am I right? After traveling for a while, the gang make it to Wellington, stocking up on gas, supplies, and drugs. Because, you know, 70s. The next day, however, Jerry, high out of his mind, gets spooked by a cop car and accidentally draws attention to them. Things escalate. Hiding out in a boxcar, the trio make it onto the Inter-Islander, a ferry that takes daily trips across the Cook Strait, connecting New Zealand's South and North Islands. Making it down to Christchurch, they separate for a day and return to the train that night. However, Shirley doesn't show, and John and Jerry are forced to leave without her. After getting back on the road, John and Jerry run into a cop, who is right in the middle of sleeping with his wife. Why am I telling you this? Because of this line.
Is that cop pulling out?
No.
Got him. Breaking into a tea shop, John and Jerry discover that Shirley was arrested back in Christchurch, and the police have escalated their efforts against the gang. As the two begin to feel the noose tightening, they commit to making it down to Invercargill and reuniting John with his girl. Now on mission, they start scraping as much of the Mini as they can, but when they get to Dunedin, they stop to mess with the local crazy guy.
Well, he doesn't look like a cop.
Are you a cop?
Come on, man, that's heavy. No, listen, I just want to help you, eh?
He wants to help us.
Ah, Dunedin. The duo makes tracks, but Crazy Guy tattles on them to the cops, and they finally manage to catch the gang off guard. John makes it back into the Mini, and Jerry makes it on top of the Mini. As the cops give chase, Jerry falls off and is hit by a police car. Jerry is fading fast, but he tells John to book it and make it to his girl, so John makes the last leg of this journey alone. Under fire and with a leaky fuel can in the back, John pulls out all the stops to make it to his girl, with the Mini being the ultimate cost. That and, his friend's life. After a quick reunion, John is finally cornered, and he says his goodbyes before turning himself in. Completely nude. Like a hero. Goodbye Pork Pie is a very fun chase movie, but the real joy is seeing it take place in a Kiwi environment. Not just the places, but the attitude of the characters, tone of the film, and the casual nature of everything. Our heroes aren't good guys, but they're not through and through villains or hardened criminals either. They're just kind of dicks, and that makes it a lot more fun to watch. This movie is very New Zealand, with the humor, characters, location, and even things as basic as the props used. And this was at a time when that was simply unheard of. This film has become so iconic that the yellow Mini is now a piece of Kiwiana, and even got a remake recently directed by Jeff Murphy's son, Matt Murphy, who worked on the original film. But the most important thing about this movie is that, with it, Jeff Murphy proved that us Kiwis don't have to change anything about ourselves to make great cinema. We don't have to change our humor, our country, or our stories. And that is truly uniquely New Zealand.